Welcome back. In this lecture, we will discuss tests concerning two means. This situation occurs whenever we are comparing two populations. Suppose we are considering two populations with population means mu1 and mu2 and population variance sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square. So in order to compare these two populations in terms of their parameters, we are drawing two samples of sizes say n1 and n2 from these two populations. So in tests concerning two means, we are considering two populations with population mean say mu1 and mu2, population variances say sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square. So in order to test the null hypothesis H0, there is a difference in mean mu1 minus mu2 is equal to delta against the alternate hypothesis H1. Whether this is mu1 minus mu2 is less than delta or mu1 minus mu2 greater than delta or mu1 minus mu2 not equal to delta. See, as before, we can again classify this alternate hypothesis as one-tailed alternative for the first two cases, and the third one not equal to type, that means mu1 minus mu2 not equal to delta is called a two-tailed alternative hypothesis. For the comparison purpose, we are always taking the null hypothesis as there is a difference in two populations or there is a difference in population means, and that difference is delta. See, whenever this delta is equal to 0, we are on the assumption that two population parameters are identical. For example, if you are testing whether two teaching methods are equally efficient or not, then we take the null hypothesis as mu1 minus mu2 is equal to 0 or H0 mu1 equal to mu2. Or if you are testing whether one irrigation method is less expensive than the other, now we are on the assumption that the null hypothesis mu1 minus mu2 equal to 0 or H0 mu1 equal to mu2. So this is the general format. In order to compare two population in terms of population parameter mean, population parameters mu1 and mu2, we take the general format as H0 mu1 minus mu2 equal to delta. That means there is a difference in population parameter, against there is no such a difference, and no such a difference, or the difference may be less than delta, that means mu1 minus mu2 less than delta or mu1 minus mu2 greater than delta. Now for testing this null hypothesis, we are drawing two samples. One sample of size n1 from the first population and another sample n2 from the second population. And for this first sample, we are computing the population mean as, suppose this is x1 bar, and for the second population it is x2 bar. Okay. Whenever the population standard deviations or population variances sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square are known, we use the test statistic z is equal to x1 bar minus x2 bar minus delta the whole divided by square root of sigma 1 square divided by n1 plus sigma 2 square divided by n2. This will be a standard normal variate, or this follows n01. And this statistic is used whenever we are testing the null hypothesis H0 mu1 minus mu2 against mu1 minus mu2 equal to delta against the respective one-tailed alternate hypothesis or two-tailed alternate hypothesis with the given informations population variances sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square are known. If that sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square are unknown, and for large sample we use, suppose the sample sizes drawn n1 and n2 are large samples n1 and n2 with sigma 1 and sigma 2 unknown, sigma 1 and sigma 2 unknown. We use the test statistic z as x1 bar minus x2 bar minus delta the whole divided by square root of, we are replacing this sigma 1 square by sample variance, that is s1 square by n1 plus s2 square by n2, and this follows normal distribution, that is n01. Now come to the third case, that means whenever the sample sizes are small samples n1 and n2 with sigma 1 and sigma 2 unknown. sigma 1, sigma 2 unknown. Then we follow the t test. That means the test statistic t is given by x1 bar minus x2 bar minus delta the whole divided by sp into square root of 1 by n1 plus 1 by n2. This follows t distribution with n1 plus n2 minus 2 degrees of freedom. And here what is SP? Here this SP is the pooled sample standard deviation. That means we are mixing together the samples S1, N1 and samples of sizes N1 and N2, and for the mixed sample or the pooled sample we compute the pooled sample variance SP square as N1 minus 1 into S1 square plus N2 minus 1 into S2 square the whole divided by N1 plus N2 minus 2. We can list all the test statistics we are using in tests concerning two means as z is equal to x1 bar minus x2 bar minus delta by square root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2 follows n01, and use this test statistics whenever the population parameters sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square are known. If sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square are unknown, then we are replacing that sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square with their estimate s1 square and s2 square, provided the sample size is large. In the case, whenever the sample size is small, for small sample and sigma 1 and sigma 2 unknown, if the population standard deviations or population variance are unknown and sample size is small, the test statistic becomes the corresponding t variate, or that we will apply the t distribution as the sampling distribution, and the test statistic is defined as t is equal to x1 bar minus x2 bar minus delta divided by sp into square root of 1 by n1 plus 1 by n2 that follows t distribution with n1 plus n2 minus 2 degrees of freedom, where what is sp, and that sp is computed from the pooled sample variance. That means we are mixing together both the samples and compute the sample variance by this formula. Now for making decision, critical region for the normal test and critical region for the t test are similar to the previous case. That means if you are considering the alternate hypothesis as mu1 minus mu2 less than delta, for normal test reject the null hypothesis if z less than minus z alpha, and for t test reject the null hypothesis if t less than minus t alpha. And similarly for mu1 minus mu2 greater than delta, alternate hypothesis reject the null hypothesis if z greater than z alpha, for t test t greater than t alpha. And for two-tailed alternate hypothesis mu1 minus mu2 not equal to delta, reject the null hypothesis if z less than minus z alpha by 2 or z greater than z alpha by 2. For t test it is t less than minus t alpha by 2 or t greater than t alpha by 2. See, all these set of critical regions are same as the previous one, but the only difference is in the writing of alternate hypothesis format as mu1 minus mu2 less than delta, mu1 minus mu2 greater than delta, and mu1 minus mu2 not equal to delta. Now we can do one question related to testing of equality of means. Consider the question: to reduce the amount of recycled construction materials entering landfills, it is crushed for use in the base of roadways. Green engineering practices require that their strength resiliency modules be accessed. Measurements of N1 equal to N2 is equal to 6 specimens of recycled materials from 2 different locations produce the data. Location 1 701, 632, 604, 652, 669 and 674. For location 2 data 552, 554, 484, 630, 648 and 610. Use the 0.05 level of significance to establish a difference in mean strength from the two locations. Here we are comparing the mean strength of materials used in 2 different locations, and we have taken 6 sample values from first location and another 6 sample values from second locations. Suppose we are using mu1 and mu2 as the mean strength of the all materials dumped in the first location and second locations respectively. So we have sample sizes n1 is equal to 6, n2 is equal to 6. So for these two sample values, we have given only data. So we have to compute the sample means x1 bar and x2 bar, the sample variances s1 square and s2 square separately. Then because the sample size are small and no information about the population variance or population standard deviation, so here we are going to use the t distribution as the test statistic. Now from the sample values x1 and x2, we call the first location data as x1 and second location data as x2. From this x1 data and x2 data, first of all we are computing the x1 bar, the sample mean for the first sample, and x2 bar, sample mean for the second sample. Then subtracting that sample mean from the first set, x1 minus x1 bar, making the square x1 minus x1 bar the whole square. Again take the deviation x2 minus x2 bar and compute another column x2 minus x2 bar the whole square. Then the x1 bar and x2 bar are coming from the sum of the first and second column values. We have, this is 3938 and x2 column sum 3478. Okay, and from this we can find x1 bar as, what is x1 bar? x1 bar is equal to that 3938 divided by total number of observations. Totally we have 6 data, so dividing with the 6 we get the first sample mean as 656.3, 656.3, and similarly x2 bar is equal to 3478 divided by 6, the value is 579.7, 579.7. So in the third column, we are subtracting the 656.3 from the first column. So that is the deviation column. And the fourth column, subtracting 579.7 from the second column. That is the another deviation column. Then computing, so we can see that some values may be positive and negative. So in order to avoid that deviation change in sign, we are squaring all the deviations x1 minus x1 bar and x2 minus x2 bar. So in order to find the sample variances s1 square and s2 square, we are adding the last two columns only. So x1 minus x1 bar the whole square is 6389.3. 6389.3. So this column sum, and the last column sum 18699.3, 18699.3, and from which we can compute the sample variance for the first data, that is s1 square is equal to, use the formula 1 by n1 minus 1 into sigma xi minus x bar the whole square. Here it is x1 minus x1 bar the whole square. That means we are dividing this 6389.3 by 5. So we get the first sample variance, and first sample variance becomes 1277.86. So that is the first sample variance. And similarly the second sample variance is, use the same formula 1 by n minus 1 into, here it is 1 by n1 minus 1, this is 1 by n2 minus 1 into sigma x2 minus x2 bar the whole square. That is dividing 18699.3, 18699.3 divided by 5, and we get the second sample variance as, what is s2 square? s2 square is 3739.86, 3739.86. So from the given data, we have computed sample mean x1 bar, x2 bar, sample variances s1 square and s2 square. Now using these sample variances s1 square and s2 square, we have to compute the pooled sample variance from the formula. What is the formula for pooled sample variance? sp square is equal to n1 minus 1 into s1 square plus n2 minus 1 into s2 square divided by n1 plus n2 minus 2. So by cross multiplication we get n1 minus 1 into s1 square. What is n1 minus 1 into s1 square? It is the sum sigma x1 minus x1 bar the whole square, that is 6389.3. And similarly n2 minus 1 into s2 square means it is sum sigma s2 minus s2 bar the whole square, or 19699.3. So next we compute the pooled sample variance. The pooled sample variance formula, n1 minus 1 into s1 square. What is n1 minus 1 into s1 square? 6389.3 plus n2 minus 1 into s2 square is 18699.3 divided by n1 plus n2 minus 2. n1 plus n2 minus 2 means 6 plus 6 minus 2, that is 10, equal to, this on division we will get the pooled sample variance as 2508.5, or from which we take the square root, we get the SP value or the pooled sample standard deviation as square root of that expression, that is 50.09. 50.09. So in our question, we have to test the claim that there is a difference in the mean strength. So we take the null hypothesis, there is no such a difference in the mean strength. That means we take the difference as 0, mu1 minus mu2 equal to 0. Then the alternate hypothesis, there may be some difference in the mean strength, that is mu1 not equal to mu2. This is mu1 not equal to mu2. Then the significance level, what is the given significance level? Alpha is equal to 0.05. What are the data? The data are n1 is equal to n2 is equal to 6. The sample means are given. X1 bar is equal to, what is x1 bar? X1 bar is equal to 656.3. X2 bar is equal to x2 bar 579.7. 579.7. Then we have to fix the test statistic. What is the test statistic? Here we are, it is T is equal to x1 bar minus x2 bar minus delta, the whole divided by SP into square root of 1 by n1 plus 1 by n2. This follows T distribution with n1 plus n2 minus 2 degrees of freedom. And we have made one more computation, that is the pooled sample standard deviation. We computed it as 50.09. 50.09. Now substituting all these figures, that means substituting for x1 bar and x2 bar, that is 656.3 minus 579.7 minus, here the difference is taken as 0, that is delta is equal to 0, minus 0, the whole divided by SP, that is 50.9 into square root of 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6. So this computed number is a value of a T statistic with the degrees of freedom n1 plus n2 minus, that is 6 plus 6, 12 minus 2, that is with the 10 degrees of freedom. So for 10 degrees of freedom, the computed figure T becomes 2.65. 2.65. Now we have to fix the critical region or the test criterion. For the test criterion, here what is the type of the test? Alternate hypothesis, whether it is one-tailed or two-tailed. Here it is a two-tailed test, because then alternate hypothesis not equal to type, that is mu1 minus mu2 not equal to delta. So for T test, we know the critical region is either T less than minus T alpha by 2 or T greater than T alpha by 2. Here what is the proper one? And because this computed T value is a positive number, our critical region is, what is the critical region? Critical region is T greater than T alpha by 2. For T greater than T alpha by 2, with the alpha, what is the value of alpha? Alpha is equal to 0.05 and alpha by 2. Alpha by 2 is equal to half of this expression, that is 0.025. And from standard, from T table, with the 10 degrees of freedom, T alpha by 2 is equal to T 0.025, and from the T table we can obtain this number as the value becomes 2.228. 2.228. So we have set the critical region number or the test criterion value. Now we are comparing our computed number 2.65 with 2.228. What is the critical region? If this computed value is exceeding T alpha by 2, we will reject the null hypothesis. Here what is the situation? The computed value 2.65 is greater than the value obtained from the T table. And because the computed value is greater than the tabled value, we will reject the null hypothesis, because the computed figure lies in the rejection region. So we are rejecting the null hypothesis S naught mu1 minus mu2 is equal to 0. Since the computed value 2.65 is greater than 2.228, that is a critical region, that inequality holds, we can say that we will reject S naught. We will reject the null hypothesis S naught. So what is the implication? When we are rejecting the null hypothesis, we are automatically accepting the alternative hypothesis. Okay, so the alternative hypothesis says that the population means are not the same, or the mean strength of the two values obtained from the two locations need not be same. Another important type of hypothesis testing is paired t-test. So in our previous cases, we have considered two samples for comparison of two populations. So we have taken two sample sizes N1 and N2, and these two samples are obviously independent random samples. And this paired t-test occurs whenever these two samples N1 and N2 are not independent. These two samples are not independent. As an example, suppose we are measuring the data before and after some test is implemented, and measuring the same data to the same person or same number of persons before the test is implemented and after the test is implemented. So the data may not be independent. Such observations are called paired observations. Suppose we are considering a paired observation, a set of paired observations xi, yi for I is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. up to n. So we are drawing the samples of the same size before and after the implementation, or some paired values, say x1, y1, x2, y2, etc., xn, yn. So in order to implement the paired t-test procedure, we construct another random variable, say di is equal to xi minus yi for I is equal to 1 to n. And these are called deviations, and these deviations are taken as new random variables, and corresponding to this deviation, the population mean mu is denoted by mu d, population mean of the deviations, mu d, with the standard deviation s d, or the variance is s d square. S d square is the variance of the deviations of the random variables xi and yi, and this is taken as a new random variable. If mu d is the mean of the deviations or population mean of the deviations, then mu d equal to 0 simply means that mean of the responses of the two sets are the same. And mu d greater than 0 means mean of the responses of the first set is higher than that of the other. In hypothesis testing, in order to test the hypothesis, for example, S naught index mu d is equal to some specific value, mu d 0, we will consider the alternate hypothesis as in the same pattern as before, that is, this mu d is less than the specific value, say mu d 0, or mu d greater than a number, say mu d 0, or mu d is not equal to mu d 0. For applying the paired t-test, we consider the test statistic t is equal to d bar minus mu d0 divided by standard deviation of the deviations, that is sd divided by square root of n. This will follow t distribution with n minus 1 degrees of freedom. And because this is a t-test, we will apply the critical region corresponding to t-test as before. That means for the one-tailed hypothesis, first one t less than minus t alpha, for second one t greater than t alpha, and for third one either t less than minus t alpha by 2 or t greater than t alpha by 2. R is equal to sum of the deviation, that is sigma di divided by n, and the sample standard deviation of the deviation, that means sd square is equal to 1 by n minus 1 into sigma di minus d bar the whole square for I is equal to 1 to n. So these are all about tests concerning comparing two population in terms of means. Thank you.